Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and happy Tuesday. Uh, New day for me. So, today's topic is self esteem, and there's no doubt that life is better, or actually, everything seems better when your esteem is high. Um, Good things seem better, and bad things are, I guess, easier to tolerate and manage. And this is true for kids too. A kid with high self-esteem will do better in school, be more likely to fall in with the wrong crowd, uh, and engage in not so good activities like drugs, and anyway, and in general, will be happier. And low self-esteem is a burden, regardless of any age. Um, so before I talk about how to help your child develop, I want to tell you something about self-esteem and self-confidence, because I'm all about confidence, and they overlap, but they're different. Because self-esteem refers to how or whether or not you appreciate and value yourself, and it develops and changes as a result of your life experiences and your interactions with other people. Confidence is your belief in yourself and your abilities. So some of the characteristics of a low self-esteem would be feeling inferior to others. People and kids, and when I say people, I'm including kids because they are people, little people, but people nonetheless. People with low self-esteem value the opinions of others above themselves. Um, they don't think much of themselves. They do a lot of criticizing themselves or blaming themselves for things that are really not within their control. A lot of I'm sorry's, apologies. Um, they focus on what they can't do. They focus on their weaknesses instead of focusing on what they can do and their strengths. Um, they feel like they don't deserve things. Uh, they are very eager to please, and they avoid challenges. That was the last one. And they avoid challenges. Um, on the other hand, if you have high self esteem, you feel good within your own skin. You acknowledge compliments graciously. That you're comfortable looking in the mirror. You like what you see. You love yourself, and you focus on your strengths rather than your weakness. And you don't compare yourself to others, or they don't compare themselves to others. So those are just some of the characteristics. So what do you do um, to build your child's self-esteem? We as parents and teachers and the adults in their lives have a tremendous influence on their self-esteem. So we want to make good use of that influence. So one of the things we do is create opportunities for them to be successful. Give them a task, give them or that will result in success, because success breeds confidence and additional success. And when you give your child regular opportunities to experience themselves, it boosts their self-esteem and their confidence. One of the reasons why I only work with kids in person is because I use experiential activities to build their confidence and self-esteem. And hi, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but I'm glad you're here. So I use so that virtual reality doesn't work virtually, and that's why I moved to working with parents so that I can help them do the same and build their own self-esteem and confidence. One way you could do this in your home is to have, a lot of times they come in with I have 4 kids, reams of beautiful artwork or projects, and you stick them on the refrigerator. And I don't know, but my refrigerator had 5,000 things on it. But create a wall, and if you have more than one kid, create a space for each kid, and they get to pick theirs. Put their trophies or report cards or favorite artwork or ribbons or badges or other awards but put it in a place where you can see it so that they walk by and see their accomplishments every day. And if like me, you have a plethora of lovely things that can be that are frame worthy and sight worthy, um, let them pick out the ones they want, and we can and you can alternate, keep them in a scrapbook or some place where you're preserving them, uh, like they mean something, like they're valuable. You know, you wouldn't, just because you didn't have a space for a piece of art that you museum art, you wouldn't take it and just stuff it in a corner. You take care of it. Do the same with your kids' stuff. Um, the other thing is to monitor their friends. Some friends are kinder than others. You know, sometimes we pick our the friends that aren't so nice to us. Try to steer your child toward other children that are kind and supportive. Don't deny them access to people that they like, but limit time that they spend with those that are less supportive or that are constantly putting them down. Uh, or find a way with your kid to help build their self-esteem, because we know that if the way you react to someone is to put it down, it's because you're feeling less than yourself. Um, uh, the other Another thing is to give your child some control, because it's easy to, let's face it, it's easy to have low self-esteem when you feel less in control of your life. um, you grow up with the mindset that you don't have the ability to make a choice. So, you know, give them choices depending on the age. Limit it to two choices, you know, because for your own sanity. But you know, you say, do you want to, or even three, but no more than, I would say no more than three. You know, do you want an apple or a banana today, or do you want an orange? Let them decide what they want. Which outfit do you want to wear to school tomorrow? Which, or if they wear uniforms, which pair of socks do you want to wear to school tomorrow? Or something, which hair bow, something that gives them control over how they look and what they do. Um, a rough one is, and I think we think that we do, but pay attention to your child. Uh, and I mean this in the most loving way, but nothing sends the message of you're not really important as effectively as um, ignoring your child and looking at your phone when they talk to you, or looking at your phone. Your child is more interesting anyway, probably. And I know their stories can, especially the younger ones, can go on and on and on. But you want to keep those lines of communication open, because as they get older, those stories get less and less and less. And if you want to be in their life in the future, be in their life when they're younger. And if that was not the case, then there's no time like the present to start. When they say they have something to say, like, look interested in them, look at them, um, converse with them, and even though you may be judging what they're saying in your mind, try not to judge it when they're telling you what they say. You could have the discussions later, but listen to what they have to say. Teach them that failure isn't such a big thing. Um, Not everybody hits the mark every time. Uh, it's a part of life, and it gives them the opportunity to see where they kind of can tweak it and try again. um, Compliments. It's good to compliment your child, but make sure they're credible. Your child knows if your drawing of a horse actually looks like a pig or a goat or a blob, but you can find plenty of legitimate reasons to give your child compliments. And the other thing that I am guilty of also is when they do something, you don't always have to um, applaud it, because then they look for outside affirmation and they don't have inner grace. So we tend to tell my grandson good job whenever he does something, and now he's starting to say good job to us. And he was doing something the other day, and he looked at it. He was making his little animals. And he looked at it, and the way he set it up, he looked at it and he said, "Good job." I'm glad that he has his own um, confidence and self esteem, but overusing it can negate that. So give compliments, praise them, but make it credible and let them be proud of what they do too. Um, Help them to set goals. Might be tie their shoes or work on getting an A in algebra and develop a plan so that you could work on it a little bit every day. And it's a goal. It's not going to happen immediately. So when it doesn't, if it doesn't happen, if they can't figure it, help them figure out where they can tweak it and keep moving toward their goal. Again, it's not a failure. Failure isn't a big deal when you're working towards something. You're not going to hit the mark every time. Um, the other thing is more confident. I'll put that at the end. Wait, I'll say that. I hope I remember to say it. When your child is behaving in a way that's less than stellar or misbehaving, if you want to call it that, and you have to address the behavior instead of your child. Um, it's wrong to lie is better than you're a liar. Um, they are not what they are. I once heard someone say, when it doesn't make you a misbehavior doesn't make you unless you label that as their attribute. So address the behavior. Show love regularly and affection in some little way. Some kids are not huggers, some kids are not kisses, but in some little way, show them that they are loved and appreciated. Say it with your words and say it with your actions, because as we all know, actions speak louder than words. And this is what I'll say. Will I say I remembered it? Yay! Be confident, because the more confident and comfortable you are in front of your kid, the more secure they will feel. They watch you for cues, and if you're uncomfortable in a certain situation, your child will be too. I saw this so much when I was teaching the littles, my my 3 and 4 year olds. Um, when the mom or dad was nervous about them going to school, they picked up on that, and they don't understand that you're nervous because it's a new situation. They'll be nervous anyway, but if you're nervous with them, they don't know why you're nervous. They don't, and they wouldn't know why you were sending to some place that would make them nervous. Um, if you have kids who cried the first day or the second day or the second week, when they started school, you go in with that apprehension. Are they going to cry today? Now they don't understand that you're worried, you're concerned about them crying because it's heartbreaking and because you don't want them to cry, but your anxiousness, they pick up that. So try to try to work it out, journal it, talk it out, but confident, that because again, the more confident and comfortable you are, the more confident and more secure they will feel. Um, and it's never too early to start. Providing a good foundation can prevent a lot of challenges in teenage years, but it's never too late to start either. Um, Begin now. Um, and even though you can't control every experience your kid has, you can control is the wrong word. You can well, I'll say, I can't think of another word, but you can control enough of them to make a huge difference. Uh, and That's about it. I hope that you have registered for the mini webinar on balancing your life, mastering the juggling act of being a mom or dad. And ciao, ciao for now. I will see you next week.